What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to 5 reasons US aircraft carriers are nearly impossible to sink. And I mean, other than the actual size as to why, I can see why they'd be hard to sink, there's obviously other factors as well. I guess the protection that they have and all this stuff, but we're going to see, hopefully going to enjoy. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next for my reactions. And yeah, links are in the description to my Patreon if you want to see some more of my reactions to completely different topics and stuff that I can't post to YouTube, whether it's films, music video reactions, just all that good stuff that you can find extra there. If you want to see some more of my reactions, links are in the description. But let's jump into this and see some of these reasons.
5 reasons US aircraft carriers are nearly impossible to sink. Large-deck, nuclear-powered aircraft carriers are the signature expression of American military power. No other combat system available to US warfighters comes close to delivering so much offensive punch for months at a time without requiring land bases near the action. As a result, the 10 carriers in the current fleet are in continuous demand from regional commanders, so much so that extended overseas combat tours are becoming the norm. The bottom line on aircraft carrier survivability is that only a handful of countries can credibly pose a threat to America's most valuable warships, and short of using nuclear weapons, none of those is likely to sink one. The vulnerability issue is harder to address because putting 5,000 sailors and 6 dozen high-performance aircraft on a $10 billion warship creates what military experts refer to as a very lucrative target. Taking one out would be a big achievement for America's enemies, and a big setback for America's military. However, the likelihood of any adversary actually achieving that without using nuclear weapons is pretty close to zero. It isn't going to happen, and here are 5 big reasons why. Number 1. Large deck carriers are fast and resilient.
Are they? What the hell?
Nimitz-class carriers of the type that dominate the current fleet, like the Ford-class carriers that will replace them, are the biggest warships ever built. They have 25 decks standing 250 feet in height and displace 100,000 tons of water. With hundreds of watertight compartments and thousands of tons of armor, no conventional torpedo or mine is likely to cause serious damage. And because carriers are constantly moving when deployed at up to 35 miles per hour, fast enough to outrun submarines, finding and tracking them is difficult. Within 30 minutes after a sighting by enemies, the area within which a carrier might be operating has grown to 700 square miles. After 90 minutes, it's expanded to 6,000 square miles. Number 2. Carrier defenses are formidable.
I didn't know they were that quick. I just find it hard to understand how something that big, carrying all that stuff, can move that fast.
US aircraft carriers are equipped with extensive active and passive defenses for defeating threats, such as low-flying cruise missiles and hostile submarines.
Goddamn.
These include an array of high-performance sensors, radar-guided missiles, and 20mm Gatling guns that shoot 50 rounds per second. The carrier air wing of 60-plus aircraft includes a squadron of early warning radar planes that can detect approaching threats, including radar periscopes, over vast distances, and helicopters equipped for anti-submarine, anti-surface, and counter-mine warfare. All of the carrier's defensive sensors and weapons are netted together through an onboard command center for coordinated action against adversaries. Number 3. Carriers do not operate alone. Carriers typically deploy as part of a carrier strike group that includes multiple guided missile warships equipped with the Aegis combat system. Aegis is the most advanced air and missile defense system in the world, capable of defeating every potential overhead threat, including ballistic missiles. It's linked to other offensive and defensive systems on board US surface combatants that can defeat submarines, surface ships, and floating mines, or attack enemy sensors needed to guide attacking missiles. In combination with the carrier air wing, these warships can quickly degrade enemy systems used to attack the strike group. Carrier strike groups often include one or more stealthy attack subs capable of defeating undersea and surface threats.
So they are just protected from all areas. From the air, from the water.
Number 4. Navy tactics maximize survivability. Although US aircraft carriers are protected by the most potent, multi-layer defensive shield ever conceived, they do not take chances when deployed near potential adversaries. Their operational tactics have evolved to minimize risk while still delivering the offensive punch that is their main reason for existing. For instance, a carrier will generally not operate in areas where mines might have been laid until the area has been thoroughly cleared. It will tend to stay in the open ocean rather than entering confined areas where approaching threats are hard to sort out from other local traffic. It will keep moving to complicate the targeting challenge for enemies. It will also use links to other joint assets from the seabed to low Earth orbit to achieve detailed situational awareness. Number 5. New technology is bolstering carrier defense. Although there has been much speculation about emerging threats to aircraft carriers, the Navy invests heavily in new offensive and defensive technologies aimed at countering such dangers. The most important advance of recent years has been the netting together of all naval assets in an area so that sensors and weapons can be used to maximum effect. Initiatives like the Naval Integrated Fire Control Counter-Air Program link together every available combat system in a seamless, fast-reacting defensive screen that few adversaries can penetrate. Numerous other advances are being introduced, from the penetrating recon capabilities of stealthy fighters to shipboard jamming systems to advanced obscurants that confuse the guidance systems of homing missiles. Although the Navy has changed its tactics to deal with the proliferation of fast anti-ship missiles and the growing military power of China in the Western Pacific, large-deck aircraft carriers remain among the most secure and useful combat systems in America's arsenal. With the unlimited range and flexibility afforded by nuclear propulsion, there are few places they can't go to enforce US interests. And at the rate the Navy is investing in new warfighting technologies, that's likely to remain true for many decades to come.
Is there any more aircraft carriers being built at this current time, or are they being scaled back? I assume they are. I assume there's always stuff in construction for the future, you know, so there's probably even bigger ones coming in the future, which is just crazy to think, to be honest. Also, when was the last time an aircraft carrier was attacked? Because I don't know. I guess I don't know when it would have been, because it wasn't mentioned in the Desert Storm reactions. Has there been a time after that where they've been attacked, or has it just been since? Did it happen in the Cold War, or was it literally from World War II when the US and Japan were just fighting each other then, and all the aircraft carriers pretty much involved were destroyed on both sides? Oh, I think I know what's happening here. They're just trying to get to 10 minutes long. Fair enough. They're just trying to get to 10 minutes long. You gotta respect it. I hope everyone realizes that other boats aren't that close to the carrier. Usually they're off the horizon. We rarely saw the others. So this is just for like the pictures and stuff, right? But in actuality, they're spread really far apart. so they're a good distance away that they can get to them if needed, but also not close enough where they can all be attacked at the same time. I think that's the case. Definitely not impossible to sink. Obviously it's not, but I mean, when you see all the things that it has protecting it, you can see why it'd be a very hard job. I'm just going to search this. When was the last aircraft? The last aircraft carrier sunk in wartime was the Japanese. Okay, so it was in World War Two. Well, there we go then. So since then, it's not really. It's just been more of like a. It's more of a like a power move, but not actually necessarily being used. But it's just there to be used if needed. That makes more sense. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction, and yeah, tell me what you want to see in future. And until next time, like, subscribe, peace.